Today we're going to be checking out 10 things that will shock you about Portugal. So like stuff you need to know before you go to Portugal. And we would like to go to Portugal. It's actually been one of the countries that I've been trying to get to for like the last 7 years and haven't been there yet.
We were borderline about to book tickets to go there, but we didn't.
Dang nabbit. We didn't get to see the beautiful coasts of Portugal.
The biggest waves in the world
Yeah,
in
there's
some
some
areas?
crazy waves. What's up with that? How does that even
I
happen?
don't know. It's scary.
But let's check out what Walter World has to say about it today.
Hola, fellow travelers. Mark here with
Hola.
Walter's World, and we're in Lisbon, Portugal, my old stomping grounds. I lived here for 5 years. I love Portugal, but even a place I love like Portugal, I know there's things that'll
Portuguese
shock the
baby.
tourists when they come here. So what we have for you today are the 10 things that are going to shock you when you come to visit Portugal. Now, the first thing that's going to shock you is when you go out to eat, and you're going to have to pay for the bread and butter. Yes.
Portugal. That's a terrible shock to start out with.
Do you have to pay for water, though?
That's true. Do you have to pay for water? If you have to pay for bread, butter, and water,
That's tragic if it is.
getting free bread is my favorite thing at restaurants.
It's a nice little snapshot right here of a nice up-close eating of an olive.
The bread on the table, the butter on the table, the olives, these things you do pay for here. And they actually are in the menu now, you'll see that. But the thing is, if you're coming from the US or other places that, oh, chips and salsa is free, bread is free. Here it's not the
Portion
case.
sizes are large,
And I know
that's good.
people that have actually spent more money on the bread, the cheese, and the ham that they've been given. They spent more money on that than they did on their actual meal, okay? So be
Whoa.
careful with that one. So you might be...
Is it upcharged?
Yeah, and like, is it optional if you can, like if it's on the table and you just let it sit there, you won't
Oh,
get
yeah.
charged for it, right?
Yeah, it's got to be like in Indonesia. They would bring out these like little snack baskets, and we didn't even touch them because we figured that they'd charge us way too much for them. So maybe it's the same situation in Portugal.
Shocked. Yes, you do have to pay for the bread and butter in most places. Not everywhere, but just pay attention. Now, if you don't eat it, you don't have to pay. You don't want it, you say no
Okay,
thank you.
there you go.
They'll take it away, no problem. All right, so, but that'll be the first thing that shocks you.
But it's sad to have to reject bread and butter. That's delicious. That's my bread and butter.
Exactly.
Second thing that may shock you is also do with the restaurants is the fact that a lot of the places will close the kitchens between 3 and 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So
Oh,
if you're a
7
tourist
or
and you're used to
8.
eating at 5 o'clock in the afternoon for dinner, realize you're going to have to go to more tourist areas to get dinner, okay?
Like McDonald's in Italy.
Yeah, we had to do that.
So there's places here in Lisbon that do open throughout the day and the kitchen is all the time. But a traditional tashka, like a family-run restaurant, they'll serve food from about 11 till about 3, and then they'll serve food again from 7 till 11 or 12. Now the thing is, the restaurants won't necessarily close during the day or during that off time. What they'll do is they'll have what are called salgados, like little savory treats, maybe croquettes of meat, or you can get a tostamista, a toasted ham and cheese sandwich. But if you want
cool,
your
I guess.
bacalhau à brás or bacalhau com natas or porco preto, the really awesome dishes here, it's hard to get in the
is
late
that?
afternoon hours. So that's going to shock you. But just know if you want the real tashka,
It looks like a combination of mac and cheese and mashed potatoes.
Yeah, true.
What is that?
Portuguese
That's
experience,
kinda rude.
you might have to
there's
wait
shrimp.
for it, okay?
Acorda.
The third thing that might shock you when you come here, and this is actually the first thing that shocked me the first time I came to Portugal, Portuguese bullfighting. Now, if you go to Spain, you see the ole stuff, and you see the swords and things like that. Portuguese bullfighting, they don't kill the bull in the stadium. And the thing is, it's more horse riding in the beginning. They ride the horses around to tire out the bull. And then there's a bunch of guys in these kind of funny outfits and green hats. They kind of look like Portuguese elves. They go out there and they literally, and they catch the bull.
Wait,
I'm not kidding. The bull
what?
charges him. They catch the bull. It is completely insane. When you see it the first time, it will shock you. If you're here in the summer or the fall, you might see it on TV and you're just like, what the heck? Yes, Portuguese bullfighting where they actually catch the bull, it'll shock you. The fourth thing that might shock
Sounds
you when you come to
shocking.
Portugal, especially if you come from the US, is the Portuguese love to smoke. They smoke a lot here. And you'll see people outside and in the cafes and outside banks and outside offices smoking. There's no stigma on smoking here in Portugal, so a lot of people when they come from the US like, oh my god, everyone here is smoking.
Cool looking beach.
Not everyone,
cool.
but yes, smoking is quite
Oh,
common here,
surfer.
and it does shock some tourists that yes, you can't smoke next to people. And the thing is, they do have a law, you can't smoke inside unless you have designated smoking areas. So if you're flying in and out of Lisbon, they actually have like a small, like cordoned off area that's just for smokers, okay?
seen that in
The
some
fifth thing that might
airports.
shock you when you come here as a tourist is trying to find good lower price and middle price hotels. There's definitely a lack of those in Portugal. So if you're
really?
looking for hotels, you're not gonna get much great stuff, lower
That's surprising because Portugal is like, I've heard it's very affordable for a lot of things, but then hotels they jack it up for the tourists staying there.
We're really that middle price type of guy. We like to
Low, middle.
low middle. Enough to get us a private bathroom, but it doesn't need to be much fancier than that.
That kind of sucks. And this was probably made a few years ago. So
I think it's at
that's-
2017.
Oh boy, and that's before COVID, so they're probably really expensive now. Dang.
and middle end prices. So what I recommend is Portugal actually has some of the best hostels. I know hostels. Mark, I'm 40 years old, 30 years old. I don't go to hostels. They have family rooms there. They have stuff like that. But honestly, Hostel World has ranked a lot of the Portuguese hostels, especially here in Lisbon, some of the best in the world. And also, Portugal is really good with vacation rentals, getting an apartment. We're staying here in an apartment this time, and it's great. We got bedrooms, we got laundry, we got all kinds of stuff. So you're gonna go that way. But trying to find a cheap hotel or a middle price hotel that's
Ginja.
That's a,
up, so you're gonna go that way.
in a chocolate cup. Oh, so the cup is chocolate. You just,
That's cool.
what is that coffee?
Maybe.
But trying to find a cheap hotel or a middle price hotel that's good is kind of tough. So stick to hostels,
Dang.
a written apartment, or go high
That's
price.
unfortunate.
Okay, but it is kind of shocking where you can go from Germany or Austria and you find like good middle price stuff, and you don't have so much of that here. Now, the sixth thing that might shock you about Portugal is their concept of time. Going out to lunch, yes, that's going to be 2 hours. Going out to dinner, yes, it could be a 5-hour affair. We went to go have lunch with our friends in Sintra the other day. We ended up at their house for 11 hours.
Holy.
Time in Portugal is quite relative, okay? So when someone tells you, hey, let's have dinner at 7, what they probably mean is 8 or later, okay? So don't be surprised. So if you meet Portuguese
look at that
people
cake.
and they're really nice and they speak
Like a
English really
checkerboard.
well, and they invite you to do something and they say, oh, let's meet at 8, you just say, hi, I'm from a country where 8 o'clock means 7:55. When should I be there? Okay, so just do those things. It'll make your life a lot easier. But the concept of time here does get some of the tourists upset because they're always getting a coffee or having a cigarette or things like that. Now, the seventh thing that may shock you about Portugal, it may give you white knuckles, is the driving. Oh my goodness.
Really?
It's like every Portuguese person has a little rally driver inside them and it's going shoo, 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 shoo. It
Dang.
doesn't matter where you are in the country, it's like little rally drivers everywhere. And if you take taxis, which you will because they're nice and affordable here, you will feel that, oh my God, I'm going to die feeling. And the thing is, yes, they do drive kind of crazy here and they drive very fast. But one of the weird things is I found that if I'm in the crosswalk, they actually do stop for me. But if
Oh,
I'm
that's
walking
good.
on the
Good.
sidewalk and I get a little too close to the edge, woo, hey, it gets a little close there. So be careful. One, if you're driving or if you've got little kids, you keep them next to you
Oh,
all the
that's
time,
cool.
okay? Because the driving here is nuts. Like
Look at
white knuckle
that.
driving,
Wow.
scared out for your life in the taxi sometimes. Yes, that can happen. So just know that, all right? Now, the eighth thing that might shock you is when you come here to Lisbon, you're gonna get somebody that offers to sell you sunglasses. And then you'll say, no, I don't need sunglasses. And then they'll say, oh, hashish, cocaine? You want like marijuana or cocaine instead? You're like, whoa, that escalated.
Start with the sunglasses, go to the cocaine. That's a businessman right there.
I mean, you can't have cocaine without sunglasses.
Exactly.
Quickly. Look, these people, they're trying to sell you drugs. They're not selling you real drugs anyway. And Portugal has decriminalized most drugs. So the cops don't really do anything about it. It's just one of those little annoyances. But just know, if you're a tourist, that's the key. Locals say, I don't see this very often. It's the tourists that get asked. Stand outside the Rosio station where you go to Sintra. There's a Starbucks there. There's people selling drugs all the time. We're there with some friends of ours. Their son is 15. Guy came up, would you like some drugs? We're like, no, thank you. I'm gonna go take a train to Sintra instead. Oh, okay. These kind of things. So they do ask you, hashish, marijuana, cocaine. Just say, no thanks, because they're not selling you real drugs anyway. It's all fake anyway, all right? But it does kind of shock people. and they've asked my mom, who's, you know, a little bit older than me, if she wanted drugs. She's like, no, thank you. So that might shock you when you're here in Lisbon. That's more of a Lisbon-centric thing. Now, the ninth thing that might shock you when you come here is how affordable Portugal is. This is a cheap vacation to stay, to
Except for the hotels. The
Come
hotels
on.
add up.
They do add up.
eat, to travel. It is extremely affordable, okay? So when you
nice.
come here, your money goes a lot farther. You know, you get one of the small beers here, it's €1. Okay, that same small beer in Sweden is like $8. All right, so you do have a much better time here. Your money goes a lot farther, and you see a lot of tourists that started to see that. So you get tons and tons of tourists coming to Portugal now for these great prices. So I tell people, you know, they're looking for a warm, easy place to go. I say, look, Portugal's great. A lot of the people speak English. They're very friendly. They got great food, and it's affordable. So it's a great combination. And there's direct flights all over Europe and to the U.S. from here. So Philly, Newark, places like that. It really makes it a great place to go. So you'll be shocked how affordable it is. You're like, wow, I can get all this stuff. Did they miss something up? No, they didn't. They got it right, okay? So that kind of shocks people how
Good to know.
affordable it
Sounds
is
cool.
here.
Very
And then the
nice,
10th
very
thing that
nice.
might shock you when you're here is you'll see the cobblestones here in Portugal, these little tiny squares put together, you know, and they have designs and stuff like that, and it's beautiful. But the thing is, they can be slick as snot. So if you're here and you see the water coming on me, this is from the fountain. This stuff can get very slick. And if you're wearing high heels and stuff like that, it can be very dangerous. So just be careful with the slippery pavement, because I've seen many a tourist go whoops and fall on their butt on the slippery pavement. Now, it doesn't always
Good to
rain
know, I
here in
guess.
Portugal, so
Avoid
it's not
some
a big issue.
slippages.
But just pay attention, because it can get very slick. And if there's dog poop there, you know, it'll obviously be slick too. So that'll do it for you. Anyway, those are 10 things that I think that might shock you about visiting.
All right, I'm actually pretty shocked that the hotel prices are high, but everything else, the price is pretty low.
Yeah, so we'll kind of even out then. I don't
Hopefully,
know.
who knows what happened? If a lot of tourists started going to Portugal, the prices probably went up, and COVID happened, so.
Yeah, let us know what Portugal is like now for traveling around. We'd love to visit, and we've seen some places around to visit and some videos as well, but we'd love to see some more places to visit. So if you have any other suggestions, you can let us know.
Portugal is a country that we could definitely do a full road trip of
Mm-hmm.
because it's not that large. We could get a car and.
But then we have to learn how to become a rally driver so we can weave through.
Could it be worse than driving in Georgia?
Probably not.
Georgia was crazy driving as well.
I imagine that like their roads and like their traffic laws are actually kind of like followed pretty well, at least, and like set up pretty well. I don't know.
You would think, I don't know. There's only one way to find out, and that's to do it.
Let's
But
go.
see you in the next one. Bye.